as well as the water and soda. We will also serve the pizza for tonight as well. And before the welcome speech, please feel free. There's a lot of seats available here, so come and grab your seats. Today's topic is quite interesting, but before we go through that, I would like to invite Yuri, our COO of Property Flow, please.
Hello everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Yuri, Chief Operating Officer of Property Flow. Today we organized this event to get as many people in as possible to bring back the spirit of community, networking, everything that we also missed during COVID time. The event is kindly hosted by 7Peaks Software, it's leading marketing and software company. So if anyone has any projects or digitizing ideas in mind, feel free to talk to 7Peaks. They will make it happen in the best way. And for those who don't know Property Flow, we are creating the best solutions for real estate agents, for developers, to help close more, save time, save cost. Feel free to talk to our sales team. They going around that corner. Morris, he will be happy to show you a quick demo, get information in, and then we will contact you for more details. Today's event will be much more interactive. We try to keep it more fun. You can see blue stickers or papers everywhere on your tables. Also, one more QR code will be here. The idea of QR code is that you can screen it, you can scan it, and then everyone, without any sign up, without any extra steps, you can quickly write your comments or any questions you have, any thoughts for speakers, or just to express yourself, or whatever thoughts you have, feel free to share. This feed will be updated live on the screen, everyone will see it, so please don't spam it, keep it more business focused. All right, I hope speakers are ready or almost ready. Let's invite Jostein as our moderator, and he will give a or maybe Cook will give a quick presentation of our event partners and sponsors.
Yeah, so as you see that this event would not happen without PropertyScout and FazWaz, so thank you so much, and especially you guys, so thank you again for joining us today. I guess since you're all ready, so I will start inviting our beloved speakers.
And I'm sorry, before we start, the guys behind, there are a lot of free seats here. Please feel free to take them. You will feel much more comfortable.
have one microphone. Everybody hear me fine now? Okay. No? No? Just hear now. Can you hear me actually speakers as well? Speak up. Oh, yeah. 750. Just speak loud. Okay, so yeah, sorry, a little bit technical challenges here in the beginning. So first of all, thank you all for coming here today. So my name is Justin Aksnes. I'm the CEO of 7 Software as well as Property Flow. I want to welcome our dear panelists here. So introducing here on the left side, we have Fredrik Bergman from PropTech Farm. So Kuneka here from Fraction. Brennan from FazWaz. And then we have Mario here from PropertyScout. Supporter. Exactly.
You have to be louder.
All right. So again, today's topic: future of PropTech. So again, this is a series of events we are doing. This is the second one now that we're doing now as part of our collaboration with what we're calling here Thailand Real Estate Professionals. So it's an event series now. We're trying to bring in real estate professionals, networking, knowledge sharing, and basically start helping to contribute and building an ecosystem here for real estate professionals as well as people interested in PropTech, right? So I think starting off first, I think let's do a quick introduction for everyone. Maybe Fredrik, you want to start? Or...
Okay, start with me. Thank you. And my name is Fredrik Bergman, not Fredrik Bergman is his Swedish name, but I am the CEO and co-founder of PropTech Farm. We are a Swedish-based, but also an Asian-based VC firm. We've been investing into 12 companies now, primarily in the Nordics, and we have done 2 very successful investments here in Bangkok, in Property Flow, which we hope is going to succeed after this, and Lasudi. I think there is some from Lasudi here in the audience as well today. My history is from Diacrete. I think you might have heard about this company. We've been in Bangkok for many years, focusing a lot on the visualization side for real estate, primarily on seller-based markets, developed markets who are willing to pay for these kind of services. So that's been a challenge, and I'm coming back to that later. I've been in Bangkok for 10 years. Before that, I was in China. I have some Chinese friends over there. They're not Chinese, but they were living at the same time as me in Beijing. I think, yeah, we're focusing a lot on changing the way we look at real estate to digitalize, and we have invested in solutions here in Asia, but in Sweden we have invested into smart city changes, the way we live, the way we eat, the way we storage, and so on. So it's maybe not the main topic today, but I have some input there on trends and so on from Europe that we hope to bring to Southeast Asia. We feel like we are a bridge between Southeast Asia and the Nordics, so that's our goal, to invest more out here as well. I think I stopped there. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ekapak, Nirapathpongporn. From the last name, I'm Thai. I don't technically live here. I have lived here since I was 12. I've been home for a long time, stuck here with COVID for 2 years. But here I am. So I'm the co-founder of Fraction and CEO of Fraction. Fraction is a fractional ownership platform. Now, that word may sound complicated, but actually, you know the idea of fractional ownership. It's all around you already. Everything you do, actually, well, 7 Peaks is a fractional ownership, unless Justin, you own it by yourself. No, you don't. Public companies are as well. Now, if I wanted to summarize Fraction in a few words, right? We basically effectively turn everything into a publicly listed company. And we do that so that we can democratize not only investment, but more importantly, access to public capital. It means that if you see these two guys, right? Guys on my right, guys on my left here, Brennan here holding a few $100s, Fredrik here holding millions, right? But these two guys should have the same opportunities, right? Rather than investment only being for the rich, which is really the world that I've lived in for almost 20 years. So previously, I was a Wall Street banker for 17 years. I was a partner at Lazard in New York, and that was the world that really I think taught me something different. And once I left that world, realizing that actually 99% of people actually are locked out of actually wealth creating opportunities. And that's actually, I would love to actually tell you a little bit more about that today. And with Justin asking a few direct questions and the likes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brennan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of FazWaz. So our business, in a nutshell, historically, when you look at the real estate space, when you look at Thailand in general, is that you've either been a portal or you've been a real estate broker. So we, since 2015, we've been the company that has come in and kind of pioneered this space of being in between and then becoming both of those things. So that gives us access to a lot of different information. It gives us access to the entire kind of ecosystem from the start of online search all the way through our 150 real estate agents that are servicing our clients on the ground. So it's a business model that has shifted kind of the focus from being online to offline and capitalizing on those synergies. So we're operational in the 6 major markets across Thailand and focused on the residential side, and really have been kind of pioneering and driving the innovation in this space by coming from the transaction side. And I think we're going to get into that today, talking about what that actually means and what innovations are actually happening on the technology side for agents, for buyers, for sellers, for developers, for all stakeholders in the industry.
All right, perfect. So I'm Mario Peng, CEO and co-founder of PropertyScout. We as PropertyScout, we are a digital broker. So basically, we are a real estate agency, but we also build solutions, technology solutions to make our agents can focus more on focusing on the customer, right? And the same with co-brokers. So we basically look what do our agents and co-brokers do all day long, and we think about how can we automate those processes so they have more time to talk to the customer. So we are currently active in Bangkok and in Phuket, and have around 150 staff at the moment.
Perfect. So, thank you very much for the introduction, and quick intro on myself as well. Again, as mentioned, CEO of 7 Peaks. So 7 Peaks is a design and software agency here in Bangkok. We've been here for the last 8+ years. We have a team of around 200 people now, focusing on digital transformation across multiple industries. So everything from product design, software architecture, cloud architecture, implementation, mobile apps, web, etc. So as part of 7 Peaks as well, Property Flow is now one of our ventures, where now 7 Peaks office is one of the shareholders. And at the moment, I'm representing both companies. So for Property Flow, it all came by actually looking at the real estate market, when was that, 7-8 years ago. So initially looking at starting as a real estate portal, start talking to agents, starting to kind of help agents promote their properties. And we quickly identified there that there is a lot of challenges in how people and agents are working in this market, right? So again, in the West, in other markets, it's very structured, it's very established, it's a lot of kind of players involved, it's a much more seller-driven markets. Here it's a much more chaotic, right? So it's, again, there's no exclusivity, it's more a buyer's market, there's a lot of portals, agents are not necessarily getting certified. So there is a lot of different challenges that we are trying to help here. So So Property Flow basically came out from, I would say, trying to digitally transform the real estate business, starting with the real estate agents, bringing their properties online, helping to market their properties through different channels like these guys, as well as helping the agents improve their sales processes through CRM, etc. Right? So, just wanted to start by what is PropTech, right? So I think everybody heard the buzzword PropTech, and it can go from everything from smart cities to IoT to construction, etc. Right? So at Forbes, they define it as businesses using technology to disrupt and improve the way we buy, rent, sell, design, construct, and manage residential and commercial property. So I think for the topic today, trying to keep it a little bit narrow, we're going to focus on primarily the residential side of the PropTech side, where I would say most of these guys, as well as us, are focusing. So Mario, on your side, for how do you look at PropTech, and how are you solving problems now for your customers? What is your value proposition? How do you use technology to improve your business?
So we currently see that a lot of the agents are spending a lot of time going out, finding new listings, uploading listings, doing their own marketing, doing their own lead qualification, own property matching, etc. So a lot of time spent on things that are not talking to the client, right? So we just build technology to make sure that all of this is automated, and so they can spend more time on the customer.
Perfect. Any other thoughts on this topic, Brennan?
Yeah, lots. So I think I'll jump into that. So I think when we talk about PropTech, when we look at the technology, I think like there's the concept of aggregating listings. There's the concept of big picture, massively innovative technology that always seems to be kind of kicked down the road, kicking the can down the road in terms of things that are coming. So I think one of the topics when it comes back to innovation in the PropTech space is this concept of, and it's kind of the start of all the conversations, but the property portals coming into transactions. And I think that's important to talk about for a couple of different reasons. And not necessarily the portals coming into transactions, but the importance of having online traffic. And what's going to happen because of that is that it's going to innovate the concept of a lead. So I think the biggest thing in PropTech that's going to affect everybody in this room, particularly the brokers, is the concept of lead tech. So when we look at what lead tech is, it's two things. It's changing the definition of what a lead actually is, because historically it's been a name and a contact number. But as online search becomes more powerful and the players that control access to those leads become more powerful, it's going to become more enriched profiles. Specifically, what type of properties we're able to profile these people online, what properties they're looking at, and who they are, to get a better understanding of them. So that's the first aspect of lead tech, is technology that allows us to profile people online to better understand who they are and what they're trying to buy before they speak to anybody. The next aspect of that will be how those leads are distributed and claimed. So the concept of a grab style distribution app that will allow agents to select what type of leads they get versus just being given a lead, right? So I think that's a huge innovation, and something that everybody in this room can probably relate to versus future big kind of picture technology items that will impact most people in this room. And it's going to massively improve conversions and massively improve the experience for everybody that's servicing them.
Yeah, so I think just to add on that as well, right? So I think one of the fundamental problems I would say portals have here, as in my portal friends will be upset, but I think the problem is that the portals are serving as a lead generator. You are generating a lot of leads. Agents are getting a lot of leads, and agents are selectively following up some leads. So that means at the end of the day, if you're not incentivized to owning the whole value chain, you do not control the quality of your leads, how they're being followed up, how quickly you're responding, what is the conversion, are you attracting the right kind of clients, etc. Right? So I think for me that is, I would say, is one of the strongest value proposition of actually owning the whole value chain from portal to closure, right?
Yeah, 100%. And like real estate agents aren't the best at servicing online leads, right? That's not what they want. They want referrals. They want active clients, right? So it comes back to customer service as a real estate agent, right? Voice to voice, picking up the phone, calling them, face to face meeting, right, and being the first person to respond to them.
Well, actually, what I'm going to say is a little bit different to Mario and Brendan here. It affects all of you guys in this room as well, but it's not about your work, but it's actually about your livelihood. It's about how you're actually going to put bread on the table. It's about how you're going to live in this society actually in 5 years' time. You know, with inflation running at 7.5% in 5 years, all of you guys will be 50% poorer. You know, like, you know, a cheeseburger, you can buy 2 now, you can buy 1 in 5 years' time. Simple as that, right? So how do you beat that? How do you beat the trap of inflation? Investment, right? I'm an investment professional through and through. You know, all my career has been investment professional. The first thing that you want to do in investment, and actually in Thailand, actually we need to, investment is not gambling, by the way, it's a totally different thing, is to beat inflation. And how do you do that, right? Now, getting into investment in the first place is difficult. It needs big capital, and that's basically strikes out 99% of people, right? Now, then you guys think that, well, we have the capital markets, we have crypto and the likes that breaks things down to smaller pieces, right? You know, without offending anyone here, I don't think that anyone here is actually qualified to actually invest in the capital market. I've been an investment bank of 20 years. I don't buy a single stock, particularly in Thailand. Okay.
Luckily, at least crypto everybody can invest in.
Yeah. Well, even that's actually even worse. Now, so where do you actually put your money? Right now, you walk out of here. At the end of this month, you've got your salary. You might have your 100,000, 200,000, 50,000. Where are you going to put your salary? Now, we've had this situation here where, in the last few months, right, big companies, but actually they're all junk rated, have been issuing bonds like crazy, like crazy, right? TrueCore, whatever companies, these are all junk rated, I mean less than investment grade. They are issuing bonds at 3% unsecured, okay? So a 3% unsecured bond issued by junk issuer in an environment where inflation is running 7.5%, if you are one of those bond investors, you are burning your cash away. It's ridiculous. It makes no financial sense whatsoever. But these bonds are all oversubscribed. It sells within minutes, it sells within days.
I think we need another meetup for this, for
No,
financial
I'm going to get to
introduction for financials.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the point. Now, why is that happening? It's because people have no choice to actually put their money. People don't want to, well, actually too scared now to go to capital markets, too scared now to go to crypto. They're actually going to come to actually meet these guys, to actually buy properties. But how many of you have got 15 million, 20 million, 25 million, 30 million, 50 million to actually start? That's where we need to change. And actually, I'll come back and tell you actually how we can change that.
Yeah. I think, Fredrik, on your side, and more, I would say more the trends in PropTech, right? As you used to bank from the online FazWaz in Miami, from Europe, you talked to a lot of different PropTech companies. What do you see now on, I would say, the trends on PropTech and any feedback on these guys? And
on one way, Brendan, I think the things you said, Simon Baker said 10 years ago, so it's the same comments that the portals will come into transaction, but it's a big topic now when we were in Miami, and there's big portals in Brazil, in Australia, and so on, focusing a lot on the transaction side, and they are coming in big time. That's one trend I see in the portal, and consolidation, that the portals and the brands and the names is getting stronger and stronger. And I mean, it's Lifeful Connect, and these guys are just getting bigger and bigger and using the same data and so on. One big difference from the Nordics or Scandinavia especially, and here, is that the PropTech, the technologies and the focus is more on up there. I mean, for example, Hemnet, the portal, is still subscription, and it's very high value, and everybody go through there because it's a totally different market to here. So the PropTech up there is more focused on sustainability, energy, how tenants are happy, and actually connect to your input here is that the energy prices is going to go up very high here as well in Thailand, and no one care. And I still feel it's freezing in here because everybody is pumping out energy in this country, and you see the gasoline. So the PropTech industry in the Scandinavian markets compared to here, which I think is going to come big time into Asia, is more focused on this kind of things rather than just making money in transactions and so on. It's which PropTech is slowed a lot here.
Yeah, so that I guess tied back into actually solving real problems and kind of more the transformation or digital transformation and taking, I would say, traditional business processes and digitizing that. And I guess both, I guess Mario and Brennan, both of you are digitizing the processes and building tools and platforms for your agents to help and solve and streamline, I guess, these processes, right? As in, on that side, you see any other, I would say you mentioned your innovation, but you see what's the edge you have compared to a normal real estate agent broker or anyone else in the market now that maybe don't have the money to build that themselves? How do they go out and get the same advantage?
Yeah. It's tough, right? I think, like Fredrik's saying, you've got to decide which problem you're solving, right? Because there's a totally different set of problems for this market than other markets around the world, right? So I think, I mean, to your question, it's challenging for real estate agents up there, right? Because ultimately, it comes to having the traffic, right? And if you have traffic, then you've got access to the consumer base, buyers, sellers, right? And that's what's really required to be able to grow a business and scale a business within, and I think we'll get to this as a topic later, within, you know, the margins of profitability that the world is looking for now, right? Revenue pump and dumps, I think, let's see what happens to that. So I think, you know, for the agents in this room, it's about the market will move because of the consolidation, because of the, looking at the online space and the power that the leads have, that having traffic has, is from an agent side, it's about specialization, right? And it's about picking, a particular segment of the market that allows you to become an expert in that, and, you know, developing your relationships with owners, because real estate's a people business at the end of the day, and it's focused on building relationships. So there's, you know, I believe in my lifetime, the role for an agent will be very, very prevalent because it is relationship driven. But as you know, Mario will agree, it's about empowering, you know, kind of the gateway to the consumer, which is the real estate agent.
Perfect. Fredrik, you had a...
Sorry, Mario. I just have one comment between, because in the end, I think it's all about, I saw one of the comments already here. I don't think agents will disappear. It's because it's a consumer. I think it should be more consumer driven. And how, you know, first time I came here 10 years ago, terrible experience. You go to 3 different agents and they all show you the same apartments. It's like, no, I saw this yesterday. And everything we do, everything, how you buy, your portals, etc., it's all about the experience. That's what the Diakrit was all about. You have to see a floor plan. You still cannot find a floor plan here. And Matterport, you're using Matterport, I know that it's getting better, but we are far away from the way you buy property in the Western world. So that I hope you guys are fixing.
So you mentioned something, how can you survive if you don't have the technology for it? So importantly, the technology that we're building is not just for us. We are inviting co-agents to collaborate with us on the supply side and on the demand side. So if you have a customer, you come to our website, you can access all of the listings. Very simple, you can collaborate with us. If you have listings but you don't have clients, you can collaborate with us. So basically we are spending all of the money to build these technology solutions, not just for us, but for everyone. So everybody can work well together and importantly focus their time on the customer. Because as you guys mentioned before, if someone buys a property for 30 million baht, they're not going to do it online. Right? They find it online and then they want to be consulted by the best property consultant in the market. And every property consultant, whether co-agent or internal agent, can actually work with us.
I think that's an important point, right? And I think for real estate brokers, I think one thing is it's the same as many of the clients we talk to as well for certain peaks, right? As in, you have to ask yourself a question: are you a technology company? it hurt me a little bit to say that maybe these guys, Brennan, the guys, I've been teasing them for years that they're not a technology company, but maybe now they are. So I think it's kind of, if you want to become a technology company, you need to invest significantly into technology, right? And then again, your monetization and your business model is not about selling real estate. It's more about building a platform and something that is scalable and using technology to get there as well, right? So I think that's also one of the things. And for us on the property flow side, we are again providing also services for all agents to be able to empower all the agents with, I would say, similar tools like both you can get at FazWaz and on PropertyScout. Just we don't take a commission on it, just a small fee. So again, we are also helping just much more cost efficiently. So a little sales plug at the end. So I think back to again the online sales, right? I think if you look at kind of towards the future, right? As in COVID, you see there's a massive, I would say, demand on kind of e-commerce. People are going online. A lot of companies now have to really start pushing on transformation. So basically accelerating a lot of things, right? So again, people cannot travel to Thailand, to other markets to look at properties. So people are sitting at home and trying to purchase online, right? So I think one thing is, do you think, or did you during COVID, have people sitting at home with their VR headset, looking at a VR tour, putting in a credit card and paying with Bitcoin and buying a property on your platform, right? As in, do you think that would happen? Is that realistic, or is that just hype?
Actually, to add to Mario's, where you think people are not going to buy 30 million homes online, right? I guess for us, a 30 million home, or in fact later on this year, a 665 million villa, 55 million homes, in fact 300 million homes will be bought online. Actually, in fact, every one of you here can actually get a piece of it. And that's actually an important thing, because we don't want to pigeonhole someone, right? If someone in the a pay bracket here, someone in the a pay bracket here can actually only invest in certain things, right? Why should someone who's got a 50,000 salary or 100,000 salary only able to invest in one bedroom apartment out in the whoop, right?
But I think it's very different putting in $1,000 on
Exactly.
a fraction of a property,
Correct.
or Bitcoin or anything else online, right? Versus $1 million for buying a property online you haven't seen, and you hope that the pictures on the website was great.
Correct. Now, I'm just giving a different picture here, not saying it's the same thing as Mario. We are working with Mario on something like this as well, where we're going to be marketing very, very expensive. I said expensive, it just means upmarket property, but it's actually in the I'd say in the sector that I actually believe in more than say a 2 or 3 million condos, which I don't believe in at all in Thailand. So that's something that technology will change, and technology will allow people to do.
I think, Brennan, you guys already started in online bookings, online sales, and I guess quite a lot of things in this space, right? Having your Matterports, virtual tours. Is it helping? Is it converting better? Is it? Do you actually achieve sales online?
Yeah, so it's definitely helped, right? And I think what it's helped in is in its simplest kind of level of it helps people narrow down their choice, right? Before they physically spend the time and energy and effort to go view offline. So example, it's not just the individual unit that we're providing, virtual scans for, that it's the common areas in the facilities, right? So having been a real estate agent myself, right? So I've been in Thailand 14 years, and I was a real estate agent in Thailand for 9 years myself, that I would have customers, and I'd spend my day arranging access to go see 5, 6 properties, and I'd show up with my client, they go, no, hate it, don't even want to go see it. The owner's waiting in there, and I've arranged the whole day, please, just come take a look, please, right? This guy's gonna give me so much shit, right? So it allows people to narrow down their focus online. Now, yes, we actually track the number of transactions we do that are in-person viewings versus virtual viewings. So we have access to that information. So this year, I would say it's roughly 20% of our transactions are happening without an inspection. Now, that they could have seen the property before, they could have lived in that project before, multiple different things, but I think it's a mixed bag depending on who you are. If you're an investor, then the numbers make sense, right? Then it's a good investment, then I don't necessarily need to see it, but for a home, it's helping narrow down the process.
Yeah, perfect. What about you, Fredrik, on more mature markets, and how do you see this I guess Scandinavia or...
I just bought an apartment in Spain. I've never been there, so yes. You can buy properties online if you trust the agent, and it was actually the agent I trusted, so... yeah, but if you have enough information, floor plans, measures, etc., you can do it. But we hope for Decrete, we hope this is going to happen in like 10, 15 years ago, that we will change the market. That was the whole purpose, and it still is part of the purpose with Decrete, to visualize, to show the property in the future. Matterport came up as a big competitor to Decrete, but still, you still need the agents. To summarize, I mean, you still need someone to show you, help you in the final, and I agree with you, Brennan, that it's the decision making. You finally can choose between three, and these are the ones you've seen them, you felt them, and you have to go there. I think that's new developments I would buy online. That's easier, but on 3D. But
I think on that note, I guess back in Scandinavia, as mentioned, it's a seller's market. The sellers are investing into properties, right? As in they're investing into selling it, right? Here it's
no, in the sense that the Scandinavian market, you at least in Sweden, you only buy one house and then a summer house.
No, but I mean when you actually, again, who's paying for the pictures? Who's paying for the floor plan? Who's paying for the door? Yeah. So the problem again with the Thai market again is that again it's open listing. You might have 100 agents. If there's 100 agents, why would you as an agent invest into that property without exclusivity, right? So I think that is kind of one of the fundamental problems in the whole kind of dynamics of the market here that makes it much more difficult to get to that point, right? And that kind of, I guess, also plays back to, again, I guess, Airbnb, how they got started and how they really started making a track record. It's kind of they went out and took pictures of every property themselves, they got the quality, and they started differentiating and kind of taking a bigger market share, right? So I guess it's an investment, I guess, on your side doing this, and I assume you don't do this for all properties, maybe for the new developments or...
Yeah, we've been doing it. So you look at like evergreen content. So evergreen content being the common area facilities. So once that unit sells, right, it's off the market, right? Unless it's a rental, right? So different aspects on that, but focus more on evergreen content. But you're right. It's what is your value proposition to the seller, right? In terms of with a open market listing, non-exclusive market, how are you going to provide value to that seller for them to give it to you exclusively, right? Which leads me on to a whole other topic about market consolidation and these things, which is going to be beneficial for everybody at some point because it will help address some of these inefficiencies that are specific to Thailand.
Right. So I think one of the latest, I'd say, buzzwords that I'm not sure what categorized as PropTech, but it's the whole metaverse. Basically, again, I guess goes under, I guess, NFTs, Web3, basically buying properties in a virtual world. I know, Brennan, you guys have a brand already doing this from what I read on your website.
We launched that at a perfect time, right? So with everything that's crashed, so yeah, lucky, check it out. But yeah.
So I guess that answered that. I don't know, Fredrik, from your side, is this something you will throw your money at?
I lost a lot of money in crypto, so I don't know. This guy's have to. Yeah. It's so far not my best investment.
No,
Tiva is here, I think. He knows about it.
I'm a traditional finance guy. At the end of the day, you're not going to get $1 in my pocket without me owning the thing in real life. So for me, economic reality will always prevail.
But I guess that's the difference with fraction, right? As in it's still a non-fungible token, but it's tied to an actual asset that is owned, I guess, by a trust, right? Versus, again, metaverse, where there's no real asset, there's no real tangible value. Similar, like, again, Crazy Monkeys and the other JPEGs online, right?
Yeah, look, I think they're different things, to be honest. Yeah, metaverse, I mean, it can be a real estate. Like, I mean, like, for example, I mean, if, actually I don't play games, and my son does, but, what are these famous games that they play? I don't know, like
Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft or whatever, right? I assume that actually owning real estate is actually real estate, right? So that's actually fine. But, these digital arts, profile pictures, these are bullshit.
What about you guys? Mario, are you going to launch your metaverse platform?
No, for me it's very clear. Real estate is here to either live in or work in, and that's it. I don't think many people will buy real estate in the metaverse, and that's why we're not doing it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I guess then I get back to the kind of the global situation now as well, right? I guess you have there's a war happening. There is kind of a little bit of, as you mentioned, great recession, and the inflation is increasing in the US. I would say there's some financial insecurities now in the market, right? And I guess, Fredrik, you mentioned that from a VC perspective now, you see that a lot of startups now are struggling to raise money. People are much more careful, keeping back, like more focus going back into profitability. We saw that Shopee just laid off a lot of people. We see there's a lot of Coinbase laid off a lot of people. A lot of big companies now are laying off. So any advice from the VC side here on how to get through the winter that is coming?
Yeah, the nice winter in Sweden is the summer, but from a Northern European perspective, it's already happened in Sweden. It's ice cold on the VC market right now. All Series A rounds are down to the bottom. The levels are pushed down, and it's also coming to the seed rounds right now. So the valuation that was just 4 or 5 months ago are halving at least, and the focus is much more on you really have to show you have a business model that works, and you will come to profitability very soon. And for my belief, it's gonna continue for a while, at least for another year, and then we see what happens. But because when I went to US now as well, you can really feel there is some kind of recession coming, and I don't think you feel the same way here yet in Thailand. I don't feel it either. Every time I land here, it's like, whoa, the country just opened. Everybody's happy. We don't have to, we can meet again. We can do things. Whilst Europe was nearly open all the time. So I think also it's going to come a little bit like a shock here that actually there is no money, but you can see already the gasoline and so on, it's going up like crazy, and things is going to happen here as well. So I think if there is startups out here, I think you have to really focus on the business models, and I think, and there is already one happening in this office, there will be a lot of consolidation. There will be a lot of companies has to join forces to survive because the money is suddenly gone. We are also raising funds to our VC, and the money is not there. It's just stopped. Everybody's just sitting on their hands and waiting to see where all this is going to happen. So that's just a sad but true story of what's going on there, at least in Europe right now.
I mean, I've gone through many cycles of this, I guess. More on the traditional finance side, now I'm in startup. Look, I think, yes, I think it's going to be more difficult, but at the end of the day, the leading, the guys who has real business model, the guys that are going to create real value will survive. There's no issue whatsoever. And I think it's just going to be great because I'm sick of actually reading fundraising, which are companies which are completely, I don't know what they do, and they still raise money. So, yeah, that's actually going to be pretty good to actually stop seeing those.
I guess what were you guys both? I guess VC backed. How important is for you guys now to focus, and how much dependent are you guys on?
I think for us it's just down to two things. So from us, we're profitable. So we have a business that is transaction focused, right? And the technology we're building will allow us to have the scale that we need, right? So it's those two metrics. So when we speak to investors and we show our unit economics, that it's a healthy conversation as opposed to kind of pre-COVID, right? So that's a good space to be in. But ultimately, as Mario was saying before, these tools are going to become available to everybody in the market, right? So it's who has the ability to have the right unit economics and have the scale in the audience and execute, right? I think that's the path.
That's a very good point. You need to have good unit economics and strong growth. Both we have. So basically, we're about to close a big round. And how do we react to the upcoming winter? Just raise more capital. Get ready for that. Invest heavier, and whoever lays off, we are hiring. That's simple.
I guess there's always somebody growing when others are not, right? So it's also an opportunity for that one. So I think let's maybe take a few questions. I think we can start maybe from the back here. So please help and ask questions if you have any comments, any questions you want to have, you can raise your hand afterwards as well. But if you want to post anonymously here, you can also do that. So I guess first one here, portal is going to eat out brokers eventually. I guess in this case, I think the brokers are eating up the portals. In these two cases, right? And to be honest, on my personal opinion, I think that's a bigger threat than the other way. I don't know what do you guys think?
Well, I will go back to the point that real estate, I'm a strong believer, doesn't happen online. So how can the property portals do it, right? So you need real estate agents, and the good real estate agents will survive for sure, because someone needs to close the transaction. And that's what we are focusing on, making sure that we in our ecosystem we have the best brokers within our ecosystem.
It's gotta happen, right? It's gotta happen. I mean, look at the numbers. We make more revenue in a month and a half than portals do in a year, right? And they're the ones with the leads. So they're looking at that and they're going, something's wrong here. We've got this wrong, right? So 100% it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So I guess it goes the other way around. Brokers are taking over that. So all right, Fredrik, any thoughts on your side on that one, or you agree?
Yeah, I agree that definitely the way that the three, I think soon big players here in Bangkok, these two guys here and Lasudi is changing the way on the market. So I think that's the way that we're going to see going forward.
So from an investor perspective, when you see these three big players, you see in the portals there's massive consolidation. What do you think is going to happen here on the broker side? Right? I guess Lasudi have an acquisition strategy of buying brokers to grow. I guess Mario, you guys are onboarding agents. I guess as full-time employees. FazWaz, you have your agent network. So I guess it's a little bit different strategies, right? But do you think there will be any consolidation at one point, or will there be a winner takes all, or there is enough space in the market for all?
The market's definitely big enough for everybody up here, right? It's a big market. It's a huge market. So it's, there's enough space for everybody to come in and make money from it. I agree 100%. But it is about, for me, the value is really in the traffic and then the execution of everything that happens afterwards. So it's being able to build this and scale this that will be the biggest challenge for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear. The market is more than $1 billion. I think the biggest companies here do like 3 or so. It's nothing. It's very small in the market, so I don't see any consolidation happening anytime soon. It's a highly fragmented market. 3 what? $3 million?
That's the biggest player in the market.
So you're doing a little bit more. That's great, but it's still very small in the market. It's that simple. That's the point, right?
4 times more.
Still very small in the market. $1 billion market.
Like I said, the biggest is doing 3.
Good to see some friendly competitors here on stage.
So the point is just it's highly fragmented. So from consolidation, even if some players work together, it's small compared to everything.
Well, I just add to this, even though we are in a very different business to these guys, and actually a lot of most of you, but actually our platform is where some of the agents and some of the brokers can actually work together with us, right? We actually, changing the way and actually widening the net, I guess, in terms of who can actually buy property, who can actually invest in property. So going forward, instead of actually you've got your list of buyers, maybe like 100 or 1,000 that you usually go to, now you can go to 100,000. You can actually go down to, so it's not necessarily where $100 million investments or condos or something are only able to be bought by 10 families. So that is something that not just you guys. We are talking to Mario and the likes, but anyone out here who are agents or brokers can actually come and work with us with Fraction. Work with us meaning that be part of the platform, and we are more additive, I guess, to the process rather than being any competitor.
I see this question in from Mario. How are you getting adoption? So everything goes through your system instead of the traditional ways.
Well, the question is, what is the traditional way, right?
Yes.
I mean, over time, the more brokers work with us, the more of the deals go through us, yes. And depending on which part each broker does, they get their share of the transaction.
I see there's another one here on the top. I experienced an online listing of residential property before, and most info is obsolete, sold, but shown as available. How do you deal with this problem? I think just to add to that one, I think that's, I would say, one of the fundamental problems that Property Flow kind of set out to fix. Again, the fact that it is a very kind of fragmented market, there's a lot of kind of agents here. It's an open listing market. That means that one owner can send the property to 100 different agents. All of these 100 agents will typically go to 10, 20 portals, upload that property. They will get a lead. Most likely, that property is not available. They will then start, I would say, bait and click and sell something else, right? So that's kind of the fundamental problem with the portal business in Thailand now, because they cannot guarantee the quality of the properties coming from the agents, because the agents don't have the quality property from the owner. So I think that's something that I would say Property Flow is trying to solve on this side, to be able to actually provide that service to the owner that then goes to the agents, then feed all that information into the portals. So if you work with Property Flow, if you manage your property and you mark that property as sold, it will then be updated on all the portals. You don't have to manually go in and do this, right? So again, I do understand that most agents are not going to spend time and going in and changing every time you sold the property on 20, 30 different places. So and again, it is a little bit of a spammy way of working. So people will post on everything that is free, right? So you will get that little exposure and get that extra little, right? So I think that is, I think one of the benefits, I think, by owning the whole value chain is that you own the customer, you are checking with the customer, you are controlling the quality of the listing, and that way being able to kind of ensure the quality end to end, right?
Yes, and also here we are building, we have certain features already built. We're building more technologies, so solution that our internal agents can use, but also co-brokers. And together, this is a big problem in the market, right? But so together with the tech solutions and the partnerships, we should be able to solve it as close as possible.
Actually, this is an interesting point. I did realize that it was a non-exclusive market here, but actually the way it works on Fraction, and I think Mario knows this, is actually always exclusive, because you can only buy shares once, right? So that's actually hard. How do you guys think that's, maybe that's going to help in terms of the market? At the end of the day, all the listings on Fraction is totally exclusive. You can't double list. Once it's sold, it's sold. Everything's on the blockchain.
I guess it's back to the market dynamics, right? As in, again, there's getting that exclusivity. You need to invest a lot into that property. You need to make sure that you can actually sell that property, and if you cannot guarantee that, you don't get exclusivity, right? So I guess that's one of the things that both of you guys are also working on, is getting exclusivity more and more. I know a lot of our brokers are focusing on this as well, and I think that's probably the best way to solve this problem is actually going down and getting exclusivity, which also means investing into that property and making that good quality property listing.
And having access to the owners, right?
Exactly.
Direct access to the owners, so that you can say, hey, is your unit available, right? And that's a big part.
Exactly.
It's always exclusive.
But some people want to live in their property, not only a fraction of it.
Oh, actually, ownership and tenancies is actually always separate. When you guys own your house 100%, you are still renting your house. And I'm not sure if you guys realize that. The cost of capital you used to buy that house is the rent that you're just paying to yourself. So it's actually, there's no difference.
So again, how do you fix duplicate listings? I think exactly the same answer as before. Again, removing again the open listings, being able to actually have quality, have control of the owners, having an agent that is actually investing into that property and getting that exclusivity. I think that's probably one of the only ways, right? So apart from portals and software solutions for PropTech, would investors seek for something physical that's going to completely change the way we build homes? Shari, I think butterfly, that's the virtual wall. Yes? Yes. Anyone want to give that a go?
What seeking for? Yeah, we do that already. So yeah, we I don't know what the way we built homes, like in other material, or what's the question there? But other solution than portals and software in Europe and in the Northern Europe, there is a lot of solutions now how people live. It's partly a little bit like fraction because you do a lot of co-living now in the north. You live in smaller units and you have like this kind of space and share. You have online storage, so you just click your app and then someone come and pick it up and store it for you in the mobile, etc. So and the solar thing, solar panels and so on, it's interesting that it's so big in Sweden where it's nearly dark half the year, but we don't see any here. So the technology here needs to be changed. I don't know if that was the question, but it's.
Yep. So I think just to maybe round it off now, if you have any last I would say, thoughts on the future of PropTech, what are you seeing happening? What is missing in Thailand? What do you think is going to be the next disruption in the market? Not necessarily on the real estate listings, but again within PropTech, do you see anything that's going to happen? Anything you see back home in other markets? What's kind of up for disruption there?
Short one on that one is that I see what we've been discussing today. There is still a lot of things that has to be solved on this market when it comes to how we do transactions on the residential side. The market still has to be much more mature, and I hope that agents get actually exclusivity so the market can start to pay for services around how you sell it, how you pay for it, etc. Because that's also going to gain the whole Thailand here, because you're going to get more fintech solutions, you're going to get different way of paying, and other things around this ecosystem, which is happening in other countries because the properties is sold exclusivity. So hopefully there is a lot of things that can come from other countries and change the way we do transactions today.
Yeah, for me, two things. The first thing is, coming up very soon, this year basically, we want to see everyone here in this room actually have an ability and actually have investments in real estate, apart from the home that they live in, right? And I think everyone here in this room actually understands the importance of actually owning real estate. So we want everyone here to actually be able to do that, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing is, the home that you actually live in, your parents are particularly Asians, like I've been telling you that you need to own it 100%, right? Actually, that's going to change for why do you need to own your own 100%? A little bit like companies, actually. They've stopped doing that for a long, since 1885 already. So that's the two trends that's actually going to change everything.
So the future is very bright for Thailand real estate, bold statement, but the biggest thing that's going to happen next is it's very bright for good real estate agents. That's the future of Thailand real estate here. And it's based on a performance-driven app, right? So everything will be carrot and a stick going forward, right? And in an unregulated market, it's going to really allow the agents that are performing well within this ecosystem to get more access to high quality leads at no cost, to get access to direct listings, again, at no cost, to get the technology and the infrastructure that allows them to service their customers even better at no cost. So that's the future, and that's going to be for the entire market, and it's going to bring the market forward in terms of the level of service that is seen in other countries.
I can fully agree with that, actually. I think on top, not just us transactional models, I think also the property portals are building more technology, going deeper into the transaction to help the agents more. So I think over time, the PropTech businesses are building great tools to enable best property consultants in the market to deliver even better service for the customer. They should focus on what they're really good at, right? Doing the viewing, doing the consultancy, and with that build a better life for themselves, but also build a better consumer experience for someone that wants to buy or rent a property.
Right, perfect. So I think we almost had time for pizza and beer. I was told I need to ask a few more questions, so we have to hold you here for a little bit longer. So I think on the question on top here, do you need a real estate license or a standardized certification? I think quick answer for me is you don't need it, from my understanding. But then another question is back to that for you guys is if you look at kind of now changing the behavior of an agent, right? I think look at the whole digital transformation. Look at change management. You're now taking an agent that is, say, maybe you're working day to day with today's needs. Yesterday's needs is in your inbox. You forgot about it. You don't care about it. You're waiting for today's leads. You answer the lead when it comes. You don't nurture your old leads. You don't have any thoughts. How do you train that agent to, as you said, professional agents, right? As in, because there are enough business for everyone. There's enough leads for everyone. It's more about how do you convert that, and how do you train the agents now to actually be a professional agent, a salesperson, right? So basically, using CRM, using the right tools, getting those processes right. As in, I guess both of you have training programs internally. How are you attacking this one?
So, A, we try to hire the best, right? B, we train them. We have a 1-month onboarding training, and then afterwards. A, we have very experienced sales directors that help them, but B also is technology. Right? Technology shall help them to do their work better. So if they forget to follow up on a lead, they get a message to follow up. Right? If a new property comes in that matches their lead, they automatically get a message. Right? So that's technology helping, but then also seeing that technology can also, if people are not doing a good work, technology will see that as well, right? And tell them either downgrade their performance and give better leads to the guys that do really, really well. Right?
So we have incredible agents in our business, and our top agents, our top producers are billing every monthly to them in terms of the commission that they get paid on a monthly monthly basis. Our top earner is getting 1.3 million baht a month, every month this year, right? So we have a ton of incredible agents within our business, and having been a broker myself, we've been able to look at the approach that all of our top producers take in servicing their clients and build that into our performance-driven app. So if you're not taking the right actions to that lead to higher conversions, then that lead will no longer be your lead, right? Concept of carrot and stick that I was speaking about. So it's, of course, attracting the best people, onboarding, training, but then providing them with the framework that really guides them to make the incredible money.
I think another question, I think this is where I think, right? Do you think how property can work with cryptocurrency, as there are several property projects that is crypto related? Is it worth to invest?
Well, firstly, crypto. If you use it as currency, then I think that's fine, right? At the end of the day, we will never quote the property or real estate based on crypto. As soon as it becomes an investment asset, if you have to guess how much is the currency is worth, and then down the line to how much it's worth, it just becomes too difficult. It just becomes too difficult, right? Now, all the things that you hear about in terms of developers accepting cryptos, I can tell you now that it's 100% giving. Right? No one can actually take even a single second of exchange rate risk. They don't even take 3 minutes of US dollars risk, let alone 3 minutes of Bitcoin risk. It's just they will go broke within a few days, basically. So I think those things now. Having said all of that, I think what I would say about crypto and real estate is, for those holding crypto wealth, and there's a lot, a bit less now these days, but you can bet that they would actually love to diversify to hard assets. So that's what actually we work on. So we actually connect directly to crypto wallets and the likes, where we allow people to actually transfer cryptos and change the fiat to actually invest in real asset. And that's actually going to be a real big trend going forward. So that's what we do.
All right, perfect. So I guess maybe last question here. What's the next problem for the market that isn't present yet? And this time, nobody's allowed to do your sales pitch, because now I know it. So talk about something else that is not your business. What's the problem in the market in PropTech now that you think is kind of need to be fixed? What's the next problem? Do you have any insight? Anything outside of your day-to-day?
I can't do that without pitching. I'll pitch.
We're all salesmen here. Come on.
I noticed.
I can't do it. No.
I think everybody will walk away with at least a kind of elevator pitch today.
This is not a pitch. One thing I noticed that here in Southeast Asia, also in Singapore, it's very noisy that the pizza camera. They're hungry over there. But it's actually all this what is called super apps that's trying to solve a lot of problems. I must say I don't believe in them at all. I think we need to look into Europe here and have specific solutions for each, and focus solution on energy or different. These super apps that everybody doing is going to be like Grab is going to solve everything for us. I really don't believe in that. I think we need to Thailand. There is big opportunity to focus on tenant happiness, how things like this in PropTech. That needs to be changed here.
I do have something to say without pitching here.
Thank you.
Look, I think in Thailand, and I don't be an expert in but from what I feel here is we're going to go through some real pain here first before it's actually going to go really good. Like living around the world, relatively property here are still like the good ones. When I say not every property is real estate. That's what I say. The good ones are still actually relatively cheap compared to regionally and the likes. But there's actually a lot of real estate here that thinks they're real estate, charging really premium locations, but just because Thailand doesn't have planning restrictions, it means that premium real estate is not actually premium real estate. You can look at all this. You can look at condos around BTS stations and the likes. You go up there, trying to pay whatever $300,000-$400,000 baht a square meter, and you look down, and all those shops they are for sale. And the next building can come up. It can't happen in the UK. It can't happen in Melbourne. Once you actually build a building, you can't. Next building can't come up, right? So we're actually going to go through that. People don't actually understand that value proposition yet.
Okay, I think based on the noise level, I think we're probably going to wrap up. And Book, if you want to extend this, you can come up and sing. I think the people here want to have a beer, enjoy, mingle, network, and I think getting tired of some sales pitches. So I think looking forward to talk to all you guys. I hope you're all enjoying. And knowledge sharing. All right, perfect. So I think thank you all for joining. And sorry for teasing you on your pitch. Okay, pizza and beer. Thank you.
Wait for it, not yet. Sorry. So we just got our sponsor is kind enough to give us a lucky draw with 5 big prizes. So if you haven't dropped, if you haven't dropped your name cards yet, do you? No? Please? Thank you. มีไหมคะ name card